For Aether's Reach, this book contains about 4 different characters. One of them you're not supposed to fully trust. And writing that, it almost stopped me from finishing this. I want to show you exactly the place where it went wrong and how I fixed it. With this book, my desire was to create the most scientifically accurate form of hard sci-fi I could put out. It's this book one of a trilogy. Obviously, like I said, 4 points of view characters: Patricia, Daniel, Edward Voss, and Ellie. And the thing I wanted, the thing that I was chasing the whole time, was for each of them to think differently, not just sound differently, but think differently. Which turns out to be one of the hardest things you can try to do as a writer, because the failure mode is 4 narrators who are really just one narrator wearing 4 different hats. I'm going to be honest with you. For a long stretch of this writing process, I was convinced no one would want to read it. And that wasn't just nerves. That was a specific voice, and I can tell you exactly where that came from. Years ago, while writing another book, I was in a writing group here in my hometown, and it had a specific set of rules that you must have followed to write the proper fiction, based on the Chicago Manual of Style rules, which are more appropriate for essays and nonfiction. Prescriptive grammar rules treated like a ceiling on what fiction was allowed to be. These weren't tools. These became walls. And what that did, and it took me a long time to see this, is it taught me to treat my own doubt as if it were true. Like the doubt was information, and it manifested as a verdict in my own head. And it's not. That's the thing I want to say to anyone watching who's got the same voice in their head. The doubt isn't a verdict on your work. It's a habit. Mine had years of practice. And the book didn't get good when I got confident. It got good when I stopped writing for some imagined room of people waiting for me to correct it, and start writing the book I actually couldn't find on the shelf. So with these 4 narrators that actually think differently, here's what that means in practice. I'm going to pick a character from this book, Patricia Lemay. The evolution of a novel through rewrites is where the dynamic starts to show. Here is a line the way it first came out when I first started writing this. The completion date came back as no current results. That was strange. Patricia frowned. Systems like RC weren't supposed to hesitate. They always returned an answer instantly. She felt a flicker of unease and queried it again, but got the same results. Now, this was more flat than the final release. So here's what it sounds like now. Once I let the character's actual view of the situation shape the sentence. The project finish date on the screen returned no results, which was not an answer. Patricia stared at it for a moment. Systems like RC didn't pause. That was rather the point of them. The whole reason you trusted a distributed AI with several $billion of construction management instead of a clipboard and a team of very weary engineers. It processed, it returned. The gap between input and output could be measured in milliseconds, not in this silence, which had stretched across her screen like something deciding whether to speak. Now, see here, the change isn't the plot. It's the same event, same information, but what changed is whose mind are you standing inside while this happens? If you're working on a multi-point of view piece of fiction, that's the whole game. Not different names, different cognition. The reader should be able to tell whose chapter this is with their hand over the header of the chapter. So as I've said before in my previous video, this is not a channel to teach you how to write. There's far too many out there that will teach you how to write, but just be choosy with who you take advice from. There are some good ones, and then there are some real shabby ones. If you got a finished draft sitting on a drive right now that you haven't put out, I want to tell you, ship that thing, get it out there, whether it be to KDP or whether you submit the manuscript to traditional publishing, get it properly formatted, get it out there. Make sure it has a good cover art if you're self-publishing. This is not because the numbers will be great. They may not be. Mine are what they are at this moment, but the act of finishing something and putting it into the world changes you. This moved me from someone who talked about a book to someone holding one. That transfer is actually real, and you can't get it any other way except by doing it. I'm so glad this one's out there, and I think if you pick it up, you'll find something in it. Okay, with that, I just want to say thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe, like the video if you find this compelling. Continue to watch for more content, and I'll leave a post in the comments and in the description where you can find Aether's Reach. Do not hesitate to critique me, because I do learn from my mistakes. If I find that something or someone doesn't like something, I will learn from that. I want to write for the audience. So have fun, folks.